One step every day. Soka was a quiet university student in Phnom Penh. He had big dreams, but a small voice. Whenever his teacher asked a question in English, he lowered his head and prayed not to be called. He understood some words, but when it was his turn to speak, his mind went blank. His classmates sounded confident, even when they made mistakes. Soka, however, believed he was not talented enough. One evening, while scrolling through social media, he saw a video with a simple message. Improving your English does not require talent, it requires daily habits. The sentence stayed in his mind. He replayed it again and again. Daily habits? He had always thought fluency came from expensive courses or studying abroad. But daily habits sounded simple, possible, real. That night, Soka made a small decision. He would not try to become fluent in 1 month. He would just improve 1 step every day. The next morning, he started with reading. He found a short English article online about successful young entrepreneurs. At first, it was difficult. There were many words he did not understand. He felt the familiar frustration rising inside him. Usually, this was the moment he would quit. But he remembered his promise, 1 step every day. So instead of closing the page, he looked up 5 unknown words and wrote them in a small notebook. The article took him 30 minutes to finish, even though it was short. But when he closed his notebook, he felt something new. Pride. It was a small victory, but it was his. On the second day, Soka focused on listening. He searched for an English podcast for beginners. The speaker talked slowly about daily routines. At first, the words sounded like a fast river flowing past him. He could catch only a few phrases, but he did not stop. He listened again and again. By the 3rd time, he understood more. Not everything, but more than before. He realized that his ears needed training, just like muscles in a gym. If he wanted to understand English, he had to listen every day. So he started listening while riding his motorbike, while cleaning his room, and even before sleeping. On the 3rd day, he added a new habit. 5 new words daily. He chose simple words at first. Improve, confidence, habit, effort, future. But he did not just memorize them. He wrote sentences. I want to improve my English. Confidence comes from effort. My daily habit will change my future. The sentences were simple, but they were his own. For the first time, English felt personal, not just a school subject. 1 week passed. Soka had read 7 short texts, listened to hours of English, and learned 35 new words. Was he fluent? No. But something inside him had changed. He no longer felt helpless. He felt in control. In the 2nd week, he faced a bigger challenge, speaking. Speaking was his biggest fear. Reading and listening were private. No one could judge him. But speaking meant making mistakes in front of others. His heart would beat fast and his face would turn red. So he started alone. He stood in front of the mirror in his small bedroom. He looked at himself and said, "Hello, my name is Soka. I am a student. I want to improve my English." His voice sounded strange and nervous. He laughed at himself, but he did it again and again. Every day, he spoke for 5 minutes in front of that mirror. Sometimes he talked about his day. Sometimes he described his dreams. Sometimes he simply repeated phrases from the podcast. The mirror became his silent teacher. One afternoon at university, his English teacher announced a group discussion. Soka felt fear creeping in. Normally, he would stay quiet and let others speak. But this time, he told himself, just 1 sentence, that's all. When it was his turn, his voice shook. I think Social media can help students learn English if they use it correctly. It was not perfect. His grammar was not perfect. But he spoke, and something surprising happened. No one laughed. In fact, one classmate nodded and said, "Yes, I agree." That small moment gave him courage. Maybe mistakes were not as scary as he thought. By the third week, Soka added the fifth habit, writing. Every night before bed, he wrote a short paragraph in English. At first, it was about simple topics: his family, his favorite food, his daily routine. Later, he began writing about his feelings and goals. Writing helped him see his mistakes clearly. Sometimes he used grammar-checking tools. Sometimes he asked a friend to review his paragraph. Each correction was not an embarrassment. It was a lesson. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. Soka's routine became natural. Read every day. Listen every day. 5 new words. Speak for 5 minutes. Write a short paragraph. There were days he felt tired. There were days he wanted to skip. But he reminded himself that success was not about intensity. It was about consistency. Even on his busiest days, he did something small. Reading 1 page or learning just 3 words instead of 5. The key was never breaking the chain. One day, an opportunity appeared. A foreign volunteer visited his university to give a workshop. The teacher asked for a student volunteer to assist and communicate in English. The old Soka would have looked down. But the new Soka felt a quiet confidence. He raised his hand. During the workshop, he spoke slowly but clearly. When he did not understand something, he politely asked the volunteer to repeat. He was not perfect, but he was brave. After the session, the volunteer smiled and said, "Your English is improving. Keep going." Those simple words meant everything. Soka realized something powerful. Talent had never been the problem. Fear and inconsistency were. His journey was not magical. There was no secret shortcut, no overnight transformation, just daily habits repeated again and again. He began encouraging his friends. "Don't wait to feel ready," he told them. "Start small. Read 1 page. Learn 5 words. Speak 1 sentence. That's enough." Some of them laughed at his seriousness. Some of them tried for 2 days and stopped. But Soka understood something now. Progress belongs to those who stay. 6 months later, Soka noticed a big change. He could watch English videos without subtitles. He could join class discussions without panic. He could even help younger students with basic grammar. But the biggest change was not his vocabulary or pronunciation. It was his confidence. He no longer believed that talent was necessary. He believed in habits. He believed in effort. He believed in small steps. One evening, he opened his old notebook, the one where he had written his first 5 words. He smiled at the simple sentences. They were not impressive, but they were the foundation. He whispered to himself, "Improving your English does not require talent. It requires daily habits." And he knew it was true, because he had lived it. Soka's story is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming better, little by little. It is about choosing progress over excuses. It is about understanding that fluency is not built in one night, but in thousands of small moments of practice. If you ever feel that your English is not good enough, remember Soka. Remember that confidence grows with action. Remember that reading 1 article matters. Listening to 1 podcast matters. Learning 5 words matters. Speaking 1 sentence matters. Writing 1 paragraph matters. Small habits may look simple, but they have the power to change your future. And maybe, just like Soka, One day you will look back and realize that the journey began with one small decision. One step every day.